Alrighty, welcome back. It's Garland here, bringing you another Neverwinter video. And today we are going to be discussing the introduction to the hunting mechanic that was brought to us with Module 12 update. Now there has been a lot of questions and speculations of, what exactly do I need to do? What do I need to know? Where do I need to go? And just overall confusion on how this system actually works. So today I'm going to be discussing all of that, and hopefully you guys will have a better understanding of how the overall system works. So here we are in the port map, which was the new hub. So if you do go down to your campaigns and go into your jungles of Schult, make sure you do have the tutorial done. And you will want to be focusing on the left-hand side, which is listed under Monster Hunt. Now there is 3 tiers to this system, and let's jump right into it. So first of all, the first tier, the Monster Hunt Rare Creatures. You don't necessarily have to unlock this to start farming the rare creatures to get drops. This is only going to allow you to make lures. Now, there is some confusion on the items overall. There are 2 different item categories that I would like to talk about today. One is going to be the trophies, and one is going to be the actual lures. So you need these 3 tiers to actually use the lures that will spawn what we'll call the boss mobs. So the first one does cost 100 totems for the rare creatures, which is going to be classified as your tier 1 lures. The second one is epic creatures, which is going to cost you 125 totems, and this is going to be able to spawn you the tier 2 lures. And then finally is the last one, which is going to be the King of Spines, which there is only one tier 3 lure, which is the King of Spines, and that's what you're going to be striving to get. Now very quickly, when you are farming these, there are items that drop. So if you drop down to your collections screen, and then go into the actual Schult section, scroll over to the Hunts of Schult. These are all the items that drop from the hunting system. So you if you want to go for one particular item, then you want to look at your collections and see where it is dropping from. For instance, there is a +5 ring that I personally am farming. As you can see, I already have all other versions other than the +5 right now. And at the very bottom, it will tell you where it comes from. It drops off of Clawgaze. Now, Clawgaze is a tier 2 lure. So simply go into here, figure out what items you are going after. Now, as far as the King of Spines, obviously that is everyone, what everyone is ultimately going for. Rex Corona drops from the King of Spines, as well as the Rex Armor. And he also drops, I think, another helmet, and he might drop some other things as well. But you need to come into here, you need to decide what item you particularly want to go for. Now, if you do want to go all the way up to the tier 3 lure, King of Spines, you are going to have to farm all of it. So it doesn't really matter what items you're looking to get, because you're going to have to be farming all of it anyway. So hopefully that wraps up some confusion about that. Now, when we're in the map here, what you're going to want to do is navigate over to this section here. It is called the Hunter Square. So let's run on over here. And this is going to be your little port or your little hub where all your lures are going to be made from. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are things called trophies and there are things called lures. So very quickly, you can see that I do have in my inventory 2 trophies. The Tyrannosaurus Rex Fang and the Batory Braves Trinket. These are both trophies which you are going to turn into a lure. I also have a Clawgaze's Saddle, which is a tier 2 trophy that you will eventually turn into a tier 2 lure. So I know there is a lot of confusion on, what the different trophies are versus the different lures. So if we come over here and talk to this guy right here, you will clearly see that you can make the Batiri War Mask and the Bottled Tear. Now these are both tier 1 lures, guys. So we already do have a Batari's Brave Trinket, as well as the Tyrannosaurus Rex Fang, and we can make the Batari War Mask, which this is the mask that says right in the description that spawns Clawgrays. So let's go ahead and just make this real quick for video purposes. So now we do have the Batari War Mask. Now this is classified as a tier 1 lure. You will go to a specific location in the map and you will spawn Clawgrays. Now Clawgrays also has a chance to drop not only items out of the collection, but he also drops a tier 2 trophy to turn into a tier 2 lure. So if we do go over here, I believe. Nope, that's not the right one. Maybe it is this one. Nope, still not the right one. Is it this guy? There we are. So the Eotyrannus horn is going to be your tier 2 lure, which will then spawn Cyrus. So if we go down to the bottom, we do have the Clawgrays' saddle, which is a tier 2 trophy. And we are missing the Carcinos carapace fragment. So once I do obtain a Carcinos and like I said, I already have a Clawgray saddle, then I am able to craft a Eotyrannus horn, which will then be able to spawn a Cyrus. Now once I kill Cyrus, Cyrus has a chance to drop a tier 3 trophy. And then you will ultimately, once you get all tier 3 trophies, be able to finally turn in those 3 trophies into the tier 3 lure, which will spawn King of Spines. So the tier 3 trophies are from Thazar, Bacho, and Cyrus. So it is a progressive system. You have to farm the tier 1s to get the tier 2s. You have to farm the tier 2s to get the tier 3s. And then finally finishing with King of Spines when you ultimately do have all of that accomplished. It is a very grindy process. And those wanting to do it, you know, it is going to take you time and RNG. Now, for a little bit, I would like to talk about the lures and trophies themselves, because there is some confusion about that as well. So all of the trophies and all of the lures, you are only able to keep one of them in your inventory at all times. So you can simply mail them to yourself, which I do have a lot in my mail already. So we will mail the Batari mask, and then we will mail the Clawgray's saddle as well. As you can see, I do have a bunch in my mail right now that I have not gone through yet, but you can only have one in your inventory at any given time. If you go and farm these in the jungle map, you will have to mail them to yourself. You cannot hold more than any one single item. Now, another option is if you do have a personal guild bank available to you, you can stack and store all these in a guild bank as well. However, you cannot keep them in your personal bank. You can only keep one of every item in your mail, or I'm sorry, you can only keep one of every item in your bank as well as your inventory. You can mail up to 20 of them to yourself, or you can store as many as you want in a personal guild bank only. So hopefully that does wrap up a lot of confusion that you guys were having with this. When we do farm the particular maps, there is also some confusion with just general terminology. A lot of people, this is actually their first MMO. Neverwinter is the first MMO they've ever played. So as far as terminology go, you have a placeholder. That basically is exactly what the name sounds like. It's a placeholder. It is taking the place of the named or rare mob that you are currently after. So, for instance, just an example, the Batari Brave camp on the map, You will have to clear out all of the placeholders and wait for the rare mob to spawn. There are specific rare mobs that only drop the tier 1 trophies. That is going to be the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Eotyrannus, the Batari Brave, the Smilodon, the Rotting Ogre, Venomtail, and Big Claw. Those are all the named creatures, or the rare creatures, that you're going to be after to get the tier 1 trophies, which you will then use to turn into the tier 1 lures. I will provide a map that you guys can go over, save, for your reference, so you know all the spawn locations of all of these rare creatures. They are throughout the entire jungle. You will have to get accustomed to their locations and then farming them. I will be providing videos on every single one of these in the upcoming weeks, so please stay tuned for that. So right now, that's going to wrap it up for the most part. Some key things that you do need to take away from this video. Remember, when you are farming these rare mobs, you can only have one of their items in your inventory at any time. If you do not mail it to yourself, they won't drop and you will be killing the rare mobs for no reason. Another thing to note is that the items, everything except the Tyrannosaurus Rex, only drops one item per person as far as RNG goes. It is not a 100% drop rate. So, example again, with the Batari Brave. If you do get a Batari Brave to spawn, it isn't going to drop a Batari Brave trinket 100% of the time. The drop ratios are not very good, and you are going to have to farm these until they do drop. Another thing to note is that if you're in a group, you will have to share the drop or predetermine who's going to get the drop. Now, this does go for every one of the rare mobs except the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Anyone that hits or does damage to a Tyrannosaurus Rex should get a drop. The T-Rex Fang does drop 100% of the time. You just have to make sure that you are hitting the mob. Now, all of the other rare names, they are not guaranteed drop, and they will only drop one for your group or just for yourself. So hopefully that does clear up some of that confusion as well. Like I said, if you guys do have any questions regarding the new hunting system, please feel free to leave me a comment below. I will try to answer them in a timely manner. Please be patient with me, as it is going to take a little bit of time to get out all of the hunting videos. And please look forward to those. And thank you guys so much for the support. The support is always phenomenal. And I will see you guys in the next video.